Hey there, old friends. Someone asked me to make a video about entry algorithms for trades. So basically what I pay attention to before entering a trade. After I pull up a pair, I look for some kind of hook.
A link to all the information is on the YouTube profile.
What do you mean I'm looking for a clue? A hook is when the price might be approaching a level. The price hasn't reached the level yet, there's still a bit of distance, right? So that's one hook, two hooks. Either it's a level or we're approaching a level. Secondly, I can use volume as a hook. Yeah, if that volume is located very close to my price. For example, I have volume here and the price is here. That can also serve as a hook. There are three hooks that I pay immediate attention to. Once again, it's when the price approaches a level. If it's already close to the level, I look to see if there might be a pullback from that level. If there's still some distance to the level, I also pause and consider whether I can enter for a continuation move toward that level, and accordingly, the market profile. If there is volume nearby, somewhere close to the price, I can also pause and take a closer look at that situation. These are the three main hooks. After that, let me start drawing an example because there's no other way to explain it. So for example, my price is moving toward the level and right now it's here, and here is the level. I have a strong move, for example, coming from the seller, and that catches my attention because we're close to this level. So I can take an entry up to this level. I understand, okay, there's a small distance I can take advantage of because at the level a buyer will appear. What do I do next? I start looking at the volumes and begin to analyze the cluster. So if I have a strong move and the sellers are still holding the candle with relatively strong pressure, for example, in the cluster I see volume at the bottom supporting the continuation of the move. This is further confirmed by the volume. For instance, the volume increases more on the seller's side during the downward move while the buyer's volume is lower, right? I can take a short entry down to this level. This is one of the clues. If I miss this situation, accordingly, I have this level. The price is already close to the level and now I start doing the same thing. I start to watch if there is a buyer at this level. What should this look like? First, you look at what kind of stop this is. What happened at this stop? For example, from this stop, there was a very long upward movement. So I can assume that there is buying volume here. Assume. There is always only an assumption. Only the market maker and the exchange know for sure. What needs to happen for me to enter from this level? I need to see weakness from the seller. How do you see weakness? Seller weakness appears as a candlestick. For example, this candle here is not a strong one, right? If this pullback happened at the level, this is how the candle would look. That already shows seller weakness. If I see that the buyer's volume becomes greater than in the previous candle from the level with a pullback, that's already two reasons to enter for an upward move. I might not even need to look at the cluster anymore. There's also the cluster fragment, right? If I see that during the pullback there's a buyer, I can also take an entry for an upward move. But guys, not right away. Wait until this candle closes. And then when it comes back down here to the minimum, because the pullback movement from the area has already happened, the pullback situation has already played out. Right now, it's unclear what will happen because you've had a pullback movement, it happened at the end, and there are questions about how strong the buyer is. The pullback happened, the situation has played out. Now, the downward movement might continue, and only after the minimum is taken out or gets close to it can I open an entry for an upward move here. Why? Because at this level, the buyer has already revealed themselves. They're present here. And since the movement started from this specific price, we had a pullback, after which the upward movement continued. At this price level or somewhere nearby, maybe a bit lower, there could be more volume concentrated. Who is it? A big player? A trader? It doesn't matter. The main point is that the movement started from this exact price. That's all we can know. Everything else is known only to the market maker and the exchange. No more information is provided to us. The simplest thing, what should you remember? Want to measure distance to the level? Look for strength. Find strength in the candlestick. Find the strength in the volume. That is, your volume should be increasing compared to the previous one. And the opponent's volume should be decreasing, not increasing. Then you can try to take it up to the shear zone. It's preferable to do this up to the zone because there might be a reaction from the zone and you might not get that profit. And secondly, if you already see a clear approach to the zone, your volume will already be lower. You don't have the strength in the cluster for further movement, so you can take the pullback move from that zone. If the price has already pulled back once and you see that in this particular bar, for example, most of the volume was growing on the buyer's side, not the seller, right? Like here. So you understand that there are buyers in the zone, but the seller came here with a strong move for what purpose? To distinguish it from the zone? No, to take out the low, to make a new low. That's why there's a chance that it will keep pushing toward that low. And then I can take another entry point right before the very low. And from there, use a follow-up trade. That's the simplest approach. The situation when approaching and the situation on a pullback are evaluated by volume, by cluster, and by the candlestick. It also matters how long ago the price made that low. If it was made recently, accordingly, the probability of a bounce will be lower. If that low was made some time ago, then the probability of a bounce from it will be higher. Because the stop has been holding for a long time. During that time, many traders could have noticed it. They could have placed their orders or limit orders from there, for example. A large player might try to reach this point because they understand that people will be looking to bounce from here. Anything at all could happen from this level. All we see are these kinds of facts that there really was an upward movement from here. If that movement is also confirmed by large volume, then that's an even bigger plus, indicating that there are definitely some good volumes for a bounce here.